When we discover the world is a risky place and our unfinished lives are in constant peril, we turn to the God who has the power, the grace, and persistence to hold us to the end. The story. The woman's face was pale. As she approached the back door after the worship service, the pastor could see she was upset. Her normally vivacious eyes were frozen. It was a sharp contrast to the rest of the people in church that morning. The congregation had just concluded the service by singing a stirring rendition of Martin Luther's well-known hymn, "A Mighty Fortress is Our God." We all know that one, don't we? Okay, some of us do. After hearing the thunderous rapture of the pipe organ at full volume, spirits were high, but not for her. The pastor asked, "Are you all right?" "No, not really," she replied. "I've been singing that hymn for most of my life, but for the first time I noticed a phrase that I had never noticed before. It is the line, 'The body they may kill, God's truth abideth still.' Pastor, I didn't expect to hear something like that in church." It's a stark line, and if you have a TAS hymn book, look it up. That particular hymn. But that particular line is a stark line. Perhaps it lingers from the Reformation days long ago when doctrinal matters were a matter of life and death. Throughout church history, there have been scores of controversies, woven through the tapestry of Scripture. Good Christian people have disagreed over the meaning of Bible verses. Factions have formed as some people discerned differing theological themes and then fought over them. Sometimes those were the internal battles within the church walls. It still goes on. Externally, whenever the followers of Jesus took the gospel to new territories, they often encountered pushback, opposition, and even threats on their lives. It may be hard for us to comprehend, but the commandments to love God above all else and love neighbours as self have been fighting words in some places. That has been happening since the Bible was written. In the Acts of the Apostles, saints died by swords or stoning. The Apostle Paul often found himself in danger for preaching the good news of God. Yes, living the gospel can be a risky business. Followers of Jesus might not be surprised at this. We are followers of Jesus, of course. In a few verses before today's text, the Lord declared, well, it was in today's text, the disciple is not above the teacher. Simply put, whatever happened to Jesus could happen to those who follow him. Jesus treated all people with dignity and paid the price for it. He told the truth and was condemned as a result. Completely committed to God and heaven's ways, he made enemies and they took his life away. If we live by Jesus' model, we will not be exempt from suffering or even the possibility of dying for our faith. Given the times we're in now in the world, gospel work can be risky. Our actions and words can create controversy. As a retired bishop once said, you can preach a judgmental and vengeful and angry God, and nobody will mind. But start preaching a God that is too accepting, too loving, too forgiving, too merciful, too kind, and you're in trouble. Our scripture text prepares us for any conflict stirred up by spreading the gospel. In this 10th chapter of Matthew's gospel, a book, Jesus sends out his followers to expand his work. They're commissioned to preach, heal the sick, and confront the structures of evil. He calls them to make a constructive difference wherever they go, and to do so in his name. And this, dear friends, is risky work. Heaven knows that will not be easy. Yet Jesus wasn't afraid. In this brief passage, he says to us, not once, but 3 times, do not be afraid. There's no reason for us to shrink from doing the work of God, even if it turns out poorly. And here's also something else to remember. We may serve the gospel message, but we ourselves are not the message. The good news is greater than us. In fact, if we try to serve Christ and fail, the message will still prevail. The truth about God will be told. The secrets of God will be revealed. So what is the message to proclaim from the rooftops? What is the secret to be disclosed? Well, simply this: all of us matter to God. Each life has an infinite value, no exceptions. Our value comes from the God who created us in the divine image and numbered the hairs on our hearts. Our heads. Hairs on our hearts. Hairs on our heads. All of us love imperfectly. We don't always see the implications of our actions. Our concern for others is expressed inadequately. God knows we are imperfect saints. Yet the core message of the gospel persists. God believes all of us are worth loving and saving, rescuing, and ultimately healing. There's a great power at work in the world than our incomplete expression of that power. This is the secret that will be revealed. God's love for each person is complete. Nothing can take that love away. Thomas Long, a theologian and a preacher, written many books on preaching in the United States, says this: there's nothing that the world can do that is able to eradicate the gospel or destroy God's loving and watchful care over the faithful. The world can forbid missionary activity and enforce it by throwing those who bear witness to the kingdom in jail, but nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret that will not become known. The world can even kill those who serve the gospel, but the murderers are not to be ultimately feared. They may have momentary power over bodily life, but they have no power over the soul. Only God has that. Only God is to be feared. And God, who counts the hairs on our heads, and who does not fail to note even the falling of a single common sparrow, can be trusted to treasure those who serve the kingdom. Love like that is a mystery, a holy, gracious mystery. We bow before the all-powerful God who announces a strange dominion that will outlive our human weaknesses. God's curious kingdom comes with the declaration that all of us are worthy of it. His good news cannot be hidden. The secret is now disclosed for all to hear. No matter what happens in life or death, we never need to be afraid. Not now, never. We are God's people. Nothing can snatch us away from the one who numbers the hairs on our heads. And God will finish